You mentioned investments, and one of the things you said was coins, and I find that interesting because we keep hearing about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all these different things out there. Like, is that something we should be paying attention to? Is it a fad? Like, because I'm still of the idea of, I think it's kind of still a fad. I don't really know. And, maybe I'm the guy that said the internet wasn't going to be a thing 20 years ago, but I'm curious what your perspective is on that.
My perspective is, take our dollar, for example. It's a lot of it's backed by people's confidence in it, right? So
the full faith and confidence of the American government.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not really backed by it's not backed by anything physical. It's backed by this confidence. And in a lot of ways, what's happened is you have a certain percentage of the population have some belief and confidence in the coins, right? And they're not looking at it because they think it's a great investment. They fundamentally believe that we'll move from paper money to digital currency and all these different things. Whatever their beliefs are, they will make that little piece of it true for them. My personal view is that, first of all, I don't own a bunch of crypto. I only buy it mostly for fun. I've bought some for fun. I get in there, I might make a little bit of money and exit it, but it's not a major part of a strategy or anything like that I'm doing. For a very simple reason. One, it's very speculative. It's like if I go to the casino and I spend $100 at the casino and I lose the $100, I'm not overly concerned about that because I can afford to lose the $100. Same thing with the coins. Right? So whether somebody thinks it's the future or not, there's a lot of technology behind it that makes a lot of it make sense. But I think a lot of people don't quite understand it. And I know people who've ruined their businesses because they put more attention to try to invest in different coins, and they ruined their businesses, the actual physical businesses they had that was taking care of them. They neglected the business and try to be coin investors, and they lost a freaking ton of money. And it ruined their real business that was actually helping them to get the money in the first place. So my thing is, people should understand what they're doing. If they like coins and they think, hey, that's the thing I want to do, that's fine by me. That's the thing you want to do. Personally, I don't understand enough of it, and I'm a pretty smart guy. And I don't understand enough of it for me to say this is an actual investment. To me, I think it's more speculation. And a lot of people are guessing, and sometimes they get lucky and it goes up, and they don't really know why. They just benefit from it going up, and they think they're geniuses. But in reality, a lot of people who are doing it, the people who don't study it, they're just kind of riding a wave, if you will.
Well, and I think one of the risks people don't really talk about, I know India right now is introducing legislation to possibly, either put some quashes on it or even ban it totally. And I know even Treasury Secretary Yellen has been talking about recently, we need to take consideration on this, and we may need to also have some sort of laws around it. So that's also something to be considering. Like, you could be legislated right out of business there.
Yeah, people don't realize that, by the way. You have the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not a government institution. It is a crazy institution. It's a private bank that's created that issues the money in the country. Now, when you have another currency that starts really competing, because the Bitcoin, all that stuff is not really competing with your US dollar in a sense. It's used as along there. When something starts actually competing with it, what they would do is they would legislate it out of the way, or they'll put parameters, or they'll issue their own currency. They will issue a digital federal dollar, and that'll be the legal tender currency, and they can outlaw other currencies. So you run the risk of those kinds of things happening where a government isn't just going to allow, first of all, not government, but a Federal Reserve Bank, and that whole institution isn't going to allow that competition without trying to crush you.
Right.
See, so you got to understand that they're going to attempt to do that because they can say this is the only legal tender accepted in this country. They can literally end up doing something like that where you talk about legislate you out of business. So what will you do when the government says we can only accept this currency and not that currency, and we can't use that currency here? People haven't seen that in America before. I've seen that in Africa, where currencies have just been outlawed. They outlawed a specific currency, and you cannot use it there anymore. So people aren't aware of those kinds of things can happen. So,
and I think it's interesting too. too, and then we'll move on. We'll move on from this in a second. But I think it's interesting as well because not many people are talking about it as well. The Treasury system, it seems like, is also preparing to do something a little bit different as well, because there was a bill passed, I want to say in October of last year, called the Fed Now system, how they're switching over from the SWIFT system to the Fed Now system, and they're actually making all transactions digital rather than the way they traditionally be done. So it also remains to be seen. There could be a digital U.S. currency issued recently, which would be a real competition problem then.
Yeah, I think something like that is bound to happen because there's more and more adoption of a digital currency. More places are accepting Bitcoin and different digital coins. So it will only make sense, just like how if you look at on social media, one platform comes up with an idea like Snapchat, and then Facebook copies the same idea and uses it on theirs, or Instagram copies it and uses it, and now everybody leaves Snapchat because now this other platform has it that's bigger, right? So it's the same thing. Once if the government comes out and says, hey, this is going to be the coin, now that coin is in direct competition with Bitcoin or other coins, so somebody's got to win. And eventually, whoever can write the laws will eventually be the ones who ends up winning.